Welcome to Seasonal Pathways ECE Leadership Vodcast, where we take a look at early care and education leadership through the eyes of the legacy leader, the executive leader, the advancing leader, and the emerging leader. All of these seasons of leadership bring value into our field and make a difference in the lives of the people we serve and the people we serve with. Welcome to Seasonal Pathways Podcast. And today we have a very special, in my heart and many of your hearts as well, guest with us today, Miss Donna Thornton-Roberts. Welcome, Donna.
Thank you, Robin.
I'm so excited to have you here today.
It is such a delight to be with you and the audience, and I am excited and grateful for the opportunity to share something about leadership.
And that's what Seasonal Pathways is all about. We have such a passion, and I want you guys to know that Donna is one of the people who ignited that passion in me. And I know that she's going to do that with some of you today as well. So what we're going to be really focusing on in this series of podcasts is legacy leadership. And I don't know anyone who has invested in legacy in early care and education leadership more than Donna. And someday we'll get into her full story. But today I want to talk with Donna about how that happened in her life as far as leadership and where that legacy is bringing her today. So Donna, what does leadership mean to you?
Oh, Robin, before I answer that, let me just share with the audience a little bit about my pathway in leadership.
Perfect.
So at this present time, it's been 47 years being in childcare or early education. And so when we began in 1976, things were so new to the field that our hometown, when I started our first school, put us on the books as a nursing home for children. And the regulations were 3 pages, and now I'm sure they're over 300. So my pathway or my beginnings in leadership started my heart to help people help parents who didn't have childcare. Because I was a young mother and we were very poor, and I thought I had to go back to work, and I thought, what am I going to do with my baby? And so there was no place. So the first thing that I led was the initiative to start the first school in southwestern part of Virginia. And so I'm so grateful for that opportunity. And I have learned a lot in the last 47 years about what to do and what not to do in leadership.
Don't we do that?
And I share with my audiences a lot that the first 10 years I had a lot of dead bodies everywhere because I didn't know how to lead. So the first 10 years I had a lot of dead bodies because I didn't know how to lead people. I had this overwhelming passion and vision to do something that met a need for me, met a need for other parents. But unfortunately, I had the right heart and the wrong methods. And there's definitely a way to lead. And I think after all these years, I think if I boil it all down to leadership, or my leadership, it's all about caring about people that you lead. You want to take them somewhere. You want to open a new school, or you want to begin a new adventure, or you want to start a new program. And you have this idea. Well, you're not really a leader until you have people following you to manifest that idea. And so that was where my biggest fumble was in early, is I just didn't know how to lead people. Didn't really know how to care about them. I just cared about the vision.
Right.
And if we really don't care about people, I love what John Maxwell says, that, you're a leader if you turn around and somebody's following you. So that's really important for us as leaders to think about where we're going, what we're doing, and to articulate that vision and the why behind what we're doing, so they'll grasp hold and follow us.
Exactly. It's the people that actually bring the vision to fruition.
Absolutely.
So if you can have, I call it the hunger in the belly. You can have that hunger in the belly because it's where your passion kind of erupts from, and it creates this picture in your mind of what you want to happen, and you want to lead the charge in it. But you're right. If you turn around, there's nobody behind you. You don't have all the skills to bring that vision to fruition by yourself.
I really like the way you said skills. And what I love about Seasonal Pathway is that you are creating a career lattice for these new leaders, the emerging leaders, and then even leaders like me, because I really do appreciate your investment and your deposits in me. And so a leader always learns. Mm-hmm. A leader always evaluates. A leader always looks. And so often we're looking ahead, but we don't take time to reflect. So when you've been in early education for almost 5 decades, I was a babysitter, a daycare, a childcare. And now what I love about the evolution of our field is that we really are early childhood educators.
Exactly.
And we, our people are life shapers, and we make a difference in the lives of millions of families. And I'm so grateful for that opportunity. But with that opportunity comes a very high risk. Mm-hmm. So when you think about leadership, and I want to mention this with Dr. Randy Ross. He is the founder of Remarkable. And I followed him a few years ago when we were in Arizona. He was the headliner and I was the follower after him. And he said something to me said something to the audience that I thought was profound. And I think it's important for the audience, the learners or the leaders to learn, is really taking time to press pause and evaluate your leadership. Because he said to the audience, what is it like on the other side of you? And would I want to be there? Well, my head started spinning because I thought, not the first 10 years, not the second 10 years, but for the last 27 years, I've been okay. But that deposit made a difference in my leadership. And that's what I want you and I to do for our audience, because they are the leaders. We say that kind of tritely sometimes, you're the leader of the future. Well, you're the leaders of right now. Mm-hmm. And so what I admire about you and what you're doing is you're investing all of the experience from legacy leaders or leaders who have had experience that really wants to deposit back into the people and the directors that are coming up and the owners that are coming up.
Exactly.
And what I love about this and what you're beginning is that we only really learn 2 ways. 1, through painful experience, or 2 is the example or the experiences of others. And I love that you're allowing me to share some of the things that I've learned in my path, in my career path. So I started with one school, developed about 35 over the course of these years, and now I have the joy of being a full-time consultant, a full-time trainer, and now I get to help people realize their dreams just like you do. So I love that fire in the belly, but the fire in the belly is only a part of it.
Exactly, yes. And what I am so excited about in this season for Seasonal Pathways in particular is exactly what Donna's talking about, this deposit. When you've got almost 5 decades of knowledge up here, how sad that would be to let it go. And the people who hear Donna in her
workshops and seminars, and when she keynotes around the globe, when she is working as a consultant, they get the benefit of what you've got up here. This much of it.
Yeah.
Well, you got this much of it.
Thank you.
And I think, that's the whole idea of legacy leadership is there are many legacy leaders out there that have, maybe not as much as you right now, but they've got a great library in their brain. And if we can have an avenue, a place where not just legacy leaders, because we're going to get into our other leaders as well.
Oh, yes.
But in particular, because the emerging and the advancing leaders are still in the trenches.
Yes.
The legacy leaders in most cases are not, but now all of those emerging leaders and advancing leaders are going to have a place to go where there's a depository of rich knowledge.
I love what you're constructing because I can already envision it, that if I have a problem with an employee, or if I have a challenge with a parent, or if I have a problem with my organizations, or if I have a issue with curriculum, I just see such a plethora of menus and topics. And so I really appreciate you gathering all of this experience to place it in one location that
Right.
you can just click and learn.
Right.
And I love that. And I didn't have that when I started out. And I think that I started out with a great heart and no education. And then that grew. I didn't even finish my undergrad until I was in my 40s. And then I finished my master's then too. And so everything that I learned, I transposed into early education. And so my undergrad is in management of human resources. Now, I can talk all day about developmentally appropriate practice, but that wasn't where my pain point was. My pain point was leading those people who are 3 feet and over. And so those kinds of practices, that domain that we manage, and then a lot of our directors and owners struggle with financial management. So that's why I went back to school and got my MBA from Everett. So what I love to do is I love to manage people who are 3 feet and over or lead. And then I love managing money. So I those are my two domains that I really, really love, because if you don't manage your people well and you don't manage your finances well, you can love children all day long, but if you don't have those quantifiable skills,
Right.
then you are not going to be a viable or successful program. And so that's what I'm very grateful for, that you're going to be giving
Right.
leaders, regardless of where they are on their ladder, really solid information. I'm looking forward to being a contributor, and I will be having some HR and things posted on hers that you would be able to access. And so I'm really looking forward to what we can do to help you, because if you look on my website, childcareauthority.com, you'll see the number one passion of my heart is to make sure that you're a success. Your success is my mission. And so that's why we love people that we lead.
That's right. That's right. You know, I love the opportunity that we have as legacy leaders to give back. But one of the characteristics, and we're going to talk a lot about characteristics. In fact, in an upcoming show, we're going to have a panel of legacy, advancing, and emerging leaders talking about what the characteristics of a good quality early education leader are, what those characteristics are. But one of the characteristics I believe that a legacy leader has, and you already said it, you're always learning. You know, legacy leaders don't feel like, okay, I've gotten to this level, I know it all, you don't need to teach me anything. That is not the attitude or characteristic of a legacy leader.
No.
And one of the things that makes us very excited is to find an emerging leader or an advancing leader that's coming up in the ranks who's teaching us something that we don't know anything about, and it whets our appetite. We had a conversation yesterday about AI.
Yes.
Okay? So, you know, immediately what comes to mind is the whole technology thing. So what is an example of an emerging or advancing leader that taught you, Miss Legacy Leader?
Oh my. You know, we say you can't teach all dog new tricks. Well, that's sometimes true, especially when it has to do with technology. And so I personally have several of my directors and assistant directors that teach me nearly every day. I have an amazing young woman, Casey, that does virtual work for us, who knows everything there is to know about everything that's cutting edge. And then my right arm, Miss Nicole, who has a degree in technology, information, something, and I just want to be around her because she'll show me something. And what I love about those up and coming leaders is they're so much sharper than we are. And I think if you're seasoned legacy as we are, you would be very wise to surround yourself with people who complement your weakness, because we want to embrace those skills. And it is that reciprocity that I love. Exactly. I'm able to help them with their communication skills, with their team building skills, with their making wise decisions, the things that how to handle people in a professional and right manner, how to enhance their emotional quotients. I mean, there's all kinds of things that we get to do, but there's things that they do that we just cannot.
Absolutely.
And what smart legacy leaders do is just say, hey, Casey, hey, Nicole, can you do this for me? And within a matter of minutes. So I don't have the brain space to learn all of that. And I don't have to.
No.
We have the smarts to surround ourselves with these amazing young people that are coming up that are accustomed. I mean, wasn't it the children born just a few years ago the only generation that really doesn't need a teacher because they have Google?
Right.
I mean, think about the technology and where we're going, and that's why that we are looking at transforming some of our trainings with this current technology, and we're also having plans to put our credential and our curriculum. So there's so many things that technology can do to really get the word out faster and help us to become better leaders.
I think the key in that too is as a legacy leader, don't you think part of that is the wisdom to say, tell me about that, and you get enough knowledge to say, yes, it's within our values, yes, it's within the realm of what we need to do or could do.
Yes.
And that's what I need to know. So thank you for sharing that with me, because that's really good information. Yes, please take that technology and go with it. So as the legacy leader, they have taught you the value of that. And you already said, even using a virtual assistant, because there's still a lot of people, not just in early care and education, who are CEOs that want everybody in the office. They don't want somebody they can't see or control. And having a virtual assistant is a technology step that's still fairly new in our field.
One of the dangers that legacy people have is the mindset, well, we've done it this way always. We've always done it this way. But we've always done this way, we don't need to change. And that really is a very difficult place for new and emerging leaders to be.
Good point.
Because they're working with a person who may have a lot of success but not open to change. So that in itself is a training that we need to talk about, because I've done a session, and maybe we'll talk about this later, about the assistant director or the director being the cream in the middle, because you're answering to someone and you can do it so much easier, but they won't allow you to change.
The law of the lid.
It is. And so we have to be very mindful of that. We want to respect the experience, and we also need to be encouraging how this change could help us. And now we know that there are many tasks that can be done by virtual, and I've got 3 or 4 or 5 virtual people who help me. But the day-to-day boots on the ground, you have to have staff who are committed and who show up and who are trained, who've been onboarded, all of those facets of HR. And that's probably one of the most echoing things that I'm hearing now is, how do you get people to show up? How do you get them to care about engaging with children? And it goes back to our leadership. If you really think about the teacher that was the most influential in your life, mine was Miss Snuffer, a 2nd grade teacher, who was first time ever. I was 6 years old, 6 years old, and she said to me, "Good job, Donna Jo." Well, what happened is that she praised me for what I did, and I had never heard that before. And so it resonated inside of me, and I wanted to follow her. So when we acknowledge good things that people do, instead of point out the things they don't, it causes so much chaos and drama within the schools that these new leaders really could evaporate by learning the art of being intentionally inspirational.
Donna, as a legacy leader and understanding where seasonal pathways is going to be providing opportunities and enrichment for not only other legacy leaders, but also for the advancing and emerging leaders, what advice would you give them today?
What a great question. When I think about the 5 decades that I've been in leadership in early education, and if there's anything that I could say during this podcast, there are several things that pop up and pop out. So the first thing is to take a little bit of time to think about you as a leader. What values do you hold? How does it feel on the other side of you? And would you want to be there? And what are your core character values? Are you trustworthy? But do you do what you say you're going to do? Do you follow through with promises? Are you reliable? Are you fair, and are you willing to listen, even when it's difficult? And so thinking about those values, because a leader must be trustworthy, because you may have a following for a short time, but if they don't trust you, they won't follow you.
Absolutely.
That's the first thing. The second thing is that you have to care enough about them to really listen when they have issues. Don't blow them off or scrape them away, but really try to listen and explore some solutions to what they're going through. But the third thing, and here's probably the most difficult, is being able to balance that ability to take care of the business first and make sure that you are leading, guiding your school to where it wants to go.
Thank you, Donna, so much for being here, for being a part of this podcast. I know our listeners are going to be learning some special nuggets from you. And Donna, if somebody really wants to get a hold of you, how would you like them to reach you?
Oh, I love an email. I love a phone call. I love a text. So I'm sure that you'll give that to your audience.
We will make sure all of that information
Absolutely.
is in the comments below.
Absolutely. Not only am I a coach, an executive coach and trainer for the secular world, I also specialize in the faith-based world. So I would love to have the opportunity to be a blessing to either group.
Very good. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. And thank you for what you're doing. I admire your energy. I admire your tenacity. And I love your passion and vision for emerging leaders.
Thank you. Until next time, this is Seasonal Pathways.